demons and angels last week. You have any questions on that? Demons and angels? No? You ever got it all figured out? All right. How many orders of angels are there? 3. Okay. Why do you think so?
Because we're triune.
We're triune. All right. That's why. We're triune. And God created triune things in so many ways. We got the map up here this week, too. We can look at that. And spirits. What are different about spirits and angels? What's different between spirits and angels?
Spirits seek to indwell animal and human flesh. Angels have physical form.
Have a form. They have form. They have a material form. Yes, sure.
Is it just the fallen spirits who seek to dwell in animal and human flesh, or all ministering spirits too?
See, there you're getting too smart for me. I don't understand all of that. I know that fallen spirits seek to dwell in human or animal flesh. We know that some of the spirits of God come up. Well, the Spirit of God dwells in us when we're born again. Okay? And so that kind of takes the place of that, I believe. And then we have ministering spirits, and we have ministering angels, or what we call guardian angels. We have 3 orders of them, as you know, in the material, the physical, and the spiritual realm. The most powerful angels are in what realm? Spiritual realm. Okay. We got that?
Now, wouldn't the only purpose in inhabiting human or animal flesh would be to mess with, like, to kind of answer your question, to mess with what
to
God,
sabotage the will and
so
the purpose of God.
Because a ministering spirit wouldn't want to inhabit us. We're not.
We're already indwelt by the Spirit of God.
Right. So, and they wouldn't want to inhabit somebody that doesn't have the Spirit of God.
No.
Because it's about messing with us and screwing
It's
us
about
up.
confusion.
Yeah.
It's about confusion and chaos.
Right.
Satan is the author of confusion and chaos, isn't it?
Right, and he's trying to speak something separate than what.
He will either confuse the purpose of God, where people will go astray, sometimes knowingly, sometimes they don't understand why, but they go astray because there's so much religious confusion out in the world today. It's there. It's there on purpose, not by mistake. Not by mistake. All right? We can see all this. Brother Roger, good to see you today. Kai, Proe, Enixa, Leon, Anastas, Exelthane, Kai, Apelthane, Ace, Eremon, Topon, Kake, Pros A Keto. Kai, what is that thing? That's a conjunction. What page is it supposed to be on? Come on, I didn't write the page number down. Who knows that? Anybody know that?
472.
208.
Oh, okay.
208. All right. And early. Now we have a little adverbial word. Proe. Proe means real early, before. It really means before because it comes from pros, doesn't it? It's before enixia, before night. All right? That enixia, that we get a word night from that, N-I-G-H-T, okay? That's where the word night comes from. And before in the night or by night, actually in the night, very much. Having stood up, look at that, nominative singular masculine, second aorist participle active. Having stood up, he went out. Exelthane. He went out and he departed. Apelthane. He departed. Third person singular, second aorist, or aorist, first aorist, or second aorist indicative active. Unto the desert. Who's he talking about? Who's doing all this?
Jesus.
Jesus, all right. Into the desert place. Eramon, topon. Now look at that word ace there. Remember, how does Mark write? How does he write?
Quickly and to the point.
He's quick and to the point, but how does he write?
With Hebraism?
He uses it's a Hebrew idea. And every time right before action in Hebrew is what, Cindy? Ace. No. Et. Et. All right? So you'll see the word ace used a lot of times. He'll use the word ace, and he'll use the word euthys tremendous amount of time. Lots of times. Because he's bringing the Hebrew into the Greek. I mean, it's still good Greek in all reality, but we see the Hebraism, we see the action of the Hebrew language in the Greek. Because he's thinking in Hebrew. John, in the Gospel according to John, and especially in the book of Revelation, many Greek scholars Greek scholars, now I'm not talking about theologians, I'm talking about Greek scholars. Many Greek scholars, they will read all types of the Greek language, every kinds of writings that they can read. And they come to the book of Revelation, and they look at that, and they said, this guy, this is not inspired. It can't be inspired because there's too many grammatical errors. The grammatical errors are really not grammatical errors. John is thinking in Hebrew, and he's writing it in Hebrew. This guy writes it in Greek, but he's thinking Hebrew. The book of Revelation, it even uses the Hebrew grammar ideas, grammatical ideas, which are not correct in Greek. So we do see here, we see correct grammar, but we see the action of the Hebrew language. In the desert, the wilderness, the uninhabited regions, place, and there he kept on praying. He continued to pray. Third person singular, imperfect, indicative, middle voice. I believe it's middle voice here. Why would it be middle? That's right. He prayed because he wanted to. He prayed because he wanted to. He wasn't called to pray, but he prayed because he wanted to. Now let's look at 136. Kai, kata doexen, auton, Simon, Kai, hoi, met, autu, Kai, eron, auton, that is, Kai, legusen, and auto. And they hunted him down. That's a real compound word here. Kata means what usually on the front of words, Cindy? You know? Remember what? What kata means? Epi, kata, in, what? It emphasizes, intensifies the verb, okay? And dioxane there, that means to hunt, to hound. Remember the word hound, to chase down. And here we have kata on the front of it, and it means they hunted him down and out to the very finish until they found him. Okay? Third person plural, first aorist, indicative, active. They tracked him down. And auton there. Tell me a little bit about auton, Cindy.
Accusative, singular, masculine, third person plural.
All right, so third person pronoun, accusative, singular, and masculine. And how do you know that? Because I wrote it down? Yeah. Have you got that yet?
How would I know that it's what?
That this is this third person pronoun and it's accusative, singular, masculine. How would you know that? Looking at the ending of it.
Because it ends in N.
Okay, omicron nu. That omicron nu is in the accusative. Okay, it's in the accusative. And then Simon. What does Simon mean? What would be the word in Hebrew for Simon, Christine?
Would it be stone?
Simon. What? It means one who hears. What was the word for hear, to hear? That's Simeon. Simeon, the name Simeon. So actually Simon's name is Simeon. They didn't get everything across correctly. Jesus' name is what? Joshua. Okay? And they hunted him down, Simon. And then we have here, now we have the word Kai there, but here it could be accumulative. Accumulative would be also. Simon hunted him down, and are also the ones. Look at that word hoi there. That's nominative, plural, masculine, definite article. To heristikon, arthron in Greek. All right? That tells you now, behind that, it says simply is the, but what do we have inflected in here, Cindy? We have a practical substantive inflected. What is the practical substantive? Once. The once. And then meta, and it's shortened there for euphony. What does euphony mean? Good sound. So it'll sound better. Met autou, with him. That's a third person pronoun, genitive, singular, masculine, and euron. This comes from heurisco. And what is the word that we use in English when you found it? Eureka. All right, and that comes from what languages? That comes from the Greek language. Okay, heuron. And they found him. And look at that, auton, accusative, singular, masculine, third person pronoun, and they say, logusin. They say, now, third person singular, present, indicative, active. I want you to conjugate this verb here. How do we conjugate this word? Let's start with it. Lego, leges, legay. Legomen, legete, legusi, legain. Okay, now, oasa, omen, ediusiane. That's present, indicative, active endings for this verb. All right, that's what it is. And right here is lego, leges, legay, legomen, legete, legusi. See, legusi. And why is it legusin? Why is it legusin?
Because it already happened?
No. Well, legusin. What does that? What for, Cindy? No.
Third person, plural.
Huh?
Third person, plural.
No.
That's coming.
Legusin. It's got an N on the end of it because it's a movable nu, and it makes it sound better.
Oh.
That's what you call a movable nu. Did you get that one?
That's just not right. You just go throwing stuff.
Legos, legay, legay, legomen, legeti, legusi, legain, and they put a nu on the end of that. Legusi.
Doesn't sound better to me.
Okay. That's what it's there. It's a movable nu, and it's to make it sound better to them. Not to Cindy, but to them. Legusan auto. It would be legusi. What would it end? It would end in a what if it was a legusi? It would end in what? A vowel. And so we got a word starting with a vowel, don't we? So they said, let's don't do that. Let's put a nu in there.
Lucy doesn't start with a vowel. It starts with a vowel.
It ends with a vowel.
I know, but it doesn't start with a vowel.
No, but the next word, auto, starts with a vowel. Actually, a diphthong.
And what's the problem with that?
They just put this movable nu in there to make them feel better. Okay? See, that is a movable nu. It really doesn't have to be there.
Word end in a vowel and then the next one starts with a
Yeah.
I get that, but that's just why.
Well, that's. I'm just throwing little things in there. It really is there. Okay, you're getting a little Greek. This is advanced reading and research, kind of, sort of. We're studying the Bible, but we're getting some of this, and I'm giving this to you for Cindy. This is
I
for
know,
Cindy.
you just gotta get over it. It's okay.
All right. So here we have all this action taking place. We see Mark writing through the eyes of who? Peter. All right. And John Mark was his name. And one word is Hebrew, and the other word is what? Latin. Okay. John is Hebrew. Mark is Latin. Marcos, kata Marcon. Hote, Pontes, Zetusen, C. All right. Now they threw another one at you, Cindy. You see that movable nu in there? Just because they wanted to.
It moved from this page to that page?
Yeah, it moved from one page to the other. Hote, it's because, for this cause. It's a little casual particle. All, nominative plural masculine. All the ones, all the ones, if you want to put that down there, that would be a practical substantive in there, because it's explaining all the ones, they what? They zealously seek him. They zealously seek him. Third person plural, present indicative. They continue to seek him. They're looking for him. They're seeking him. That word zadio, that means to be zealous. Our word zealous comes right out of this Greek word right here. Zealously seeking after him. And there's your movable nu again, Cindy. See that? And then see, you. Because all the ones, they kept on seeking you. 138. Kai, legay, autois, agomen, aloxo, eis, tos, ekomenos, komopoles, hina, kai, eke, keruxo, eis, tuto, gar, exelthon. This is one I could still write. If you ever see me trying to write anything today, it's impossible. I cannot write. I have to get somebody to write for me. It's pretty pitiful when you're trying to write all these interlinears and you can't write anymore. I just run out of words and run out of writing. And third person singular present indicative, and he says to them. And he says to them, and continually says to them. He probably repeated this several times. Autois, or autus, that is, autus. What is that, Cindy? Okay, third person pronoun. All righty. And he says to them, and that's dative plural masculine. He says to them, agomen. Marilyn, you know what that means? Agomen. All right, I'll tell her a lot of times, agomenin. And I said, let's go now. Let's go now. We go. Let us go. First person plural, present subjunctive, subjunctive active. Let us go. May we go. Some different place. Some different place. That's what it means. A different place. Elsewhere. To another place. And then we have the Hebrew idea here again. We have eis, don't we? That takes the place of eth. Eis tos ekomenos. Look at that. Eis to ekomenos. To some place clinging by. Echo means what? I have. I have. Echo means I have. No, echo. Echo. Not ago, like that, but echo. Echo. See, ago was there, and then when eso, agomen, all right, we let us go, and then it says ekomenos, someplace nearby. Someplace nearby. A place clinging by. Have you ever had a place clinging by? You two girls live in a place clinging by each other. Don't you? Your places cling together, cling by each other. Nearby, and then it comes from come polis. Come polis. Come polis. Come polis. Let's look at that. Come means a village, or a village, or a town. And polis means a city. A little city town, a small town. Let's go to a small town. Now, there are some small towns. There used to be Old River out there where I live. And then there was Panama. And Pumpkin Center, that's a big burg now. But it was small a long time ago. And then there was Gosford. If you go out to the Pioneer Village, you'll find there was a place out there called Gosford. And that's where the Gosford eucalyptus grove is. That's where Gosford was. That's one of the oldest communities in this valley right there. Did you know that? Gosford is one of the oldest communities, and it was what kind of a village, Marilyn? What kind of a village was Marilyn? Who started this Gosford village? They were English. They were English. They were English. And they planted these eucalyptus trees out there because, now this is before 1850, okay? They planted those eucalyptus trees out there to make railroad ties out of them because they were going to bring the railroad through here. This is when all of this was still swampland out here. And so it was a colony, the Gosford colony. There, you go out there and you'll see that there was a Gosford colony at Panama, and Gosford is older than all of them. So we get to live in an old place. And I call it Buzzard's Roost. Why do we call it Buzzard's Roost? I'm 3 miles from Buzzard. What? Because those great big eucalyptus trees, when they got up there, they actually, there were places where the buzzards roosted before, but they destroyed that, and so they went to the Gosford village and they started roosting in those trees, and now that's where the buzzards come back every year, and they've been doing this for 150 years. And it's a small village. That was a small village town. In order that, also, and here we have the word kai here, and it's not a conjunction, but it means also, community, also, in that place, a K, in that very place right there. First person singular, first aorist, subjunctive active. What does this word come from? You remember that, Cindy? What? Huh? Correcto. What does this word come from? What? What does this word come from? Caruso. Caruso means I preach. Here it is in the subjunctive mode. Why is it in the subjunctive mode? They may or may not receive him. That's the difference. They may or may not receive him. Sometimes they wanted to try to kill him and run him off, didn't they? So we see that in the language. We see the volition of the people, the townsmen right there. That I may preach, eis tuto. Look at the word eis again. That's another sign of the direct object, which is et in Hebrew, et. To this, for this I came forth, for this cause, for this cause, for this reason. And you can put the word eis there, you could put the word because in there also. Because. Extension or limitation of thought or verbal action. Because of this, because, that word eis there, you can put because of this, I came forth. Look at that. Ex el thing. Ex en erchomai. I came forth. Because of this I came forth. First person singular, second aorist, indicative active. Why did Jesus come? What? To save the lost, but he came to preach, didn't he? Because the Old Testament said that he would preach to the lower elements of mankind. All of us. All of us'uns. He's going to preach to everybody. Not just those that could entertain them well. Jesus, he told them, he said, don't have feasts and stuff and invite the rich that can pay you back, but invite those that cannot pay you back. Invite those that can no way return the favor. He said, that's when you've done something great, when you invite these. And that's how they started all these Salvation Army soup kitchens, isn't it? That's how all of that was started, on that premise. 139, Kai, Elthane, Caruson, Ace, Tas, Synagogos, Auton, Ace, Olain, Tain, Galileon, Kai, Ta, Daimonia, Ex, Balon. And he came. And he came. Tell me about that word, Cindy. He came. Conjugate that rascal for me, would you?
Third person singular. No. Second.
Second aorist.
Oh, that's what I was going to say, but it's not accusative, is it?
It's indicative, yeah.
Yeah, it's aorist.
And active.
Aorist two.
Now, he had this purpose in mind. The other one had whether the village would accept him or not. This one, he's going. He's going to do it. Okay? And he came. Caruson. Look at that. Caruson. Right here, Sharon, can you tell me about that word? Caruson.
It's a noun, singular, masculine, participle, present, active.
Active. Present. Participle active. Nominative, singular, masculine. So he's the subject. There's one of him in there.
Yeah.
So it's singular. And is he masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
Masculine. Is God masculine or feminine? Everybody's worried about this today, aren't they? They got bathrooms for men and women because they don't even know whether they're a man or woman anymore. That used to be real easy to tell.
Still is.
Now we got mass confusion from the president on down. Mass confusion. Ooh. When they don't even know whether they're a girl or a boy. I didn't think anybody would ever be that dumb. I didn't think people could ever be that scrambled in their minds. But there it is. Men are not getting smarter. They're degenerating. And he came preaching. Nominative, singular, masculine, present participle, active, kept on doing it all the time, continuing. And look at this ace again, Cindy. There's an ed in there in his mind, isn't there? Ace ta synagogos. What should it be in Hebrew, Brother Roger? Moed. Thank you very much. You got it, don't you? Moed. What about kahal? What's the difference between moed and kahal? That's the Hebrew now. Moed and kahal. Do you know, Cindy? Moed and kahal. What's the difference in them? Ecclesia. Ecclesia and synagogue.
Well,
What?
isn't ecclesia like big group and
The assembly.
synagogue is small?
That's the assembly. The synagogue, that is what? That's the place. That's the place. The church house. The church is the people. The church house is the assembly hall. Okay? Kahal is the people called out. That's the assembly. And Moed is the place that they go. Now, Brother Roger, why on earth didn't the Jews call their synagogues Moeds?
Because they messed up and used the Greek.
Yeah, they used the Greek. Why did they use the Greek?
Because that was the language of Franca at the time.
That's right. That was the language. That was their language at that time. And what had they translated the Old Testament in?
Greek.
Greek. Were they using the Greek Septuagint at that time, which was like the, like a translation? It was not the Hebrew Bible. It's a translation of the Hebrew Bible. And Jesus preached mostly in that translation, except where he corrected it. Okay? Sometimes he corrected it. Do I ever correct the translations? Occasionally. They need correcting, don't they? The synagogues. Now, this is one of the reasons the synagogues, the modern Jews, that they call their places of worship synagogues or moeds. Synagogues. Because it was carried over. Why do we look at the book of Exodus instead of We'ila Shemot?
Greek.
The Greek translation of the Hebrew Scriptures. Why do we have the word of Genesis instead of Bereshith?
Greek.
Greek. It comes from the Greek Septuagint. And so we got all the names of the Old Testament books from the Greek Bible, not the Hebrew. It's the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. So when you look at that, you understand these things. The synagogues. So we got that straightened out. Just look at that word synagogue, didn't we? Auton. Auton. Tell me a little bit about that there, Marilyn. Auton.
Third person, pronoun, genitive, plural, masculine.
All right. Genitive, plural, masculine, third personal pronoun. The synagogues, and what does this tell you, Sharon?
It's their synagogue.
It's their synagogue. It belongs to them. Now, when you get saved, you belong to God, don't you? Isn't that nice? You don't belong to yourself anymore. You belong to God when you get saved. The synagogue belonging to them. And then we have this et idea again, this et. This Hebraism keeps coming over here, the Hebrew idea. There it is right there. That's what it looks like in Hebrew. There it is in Greek. All right? This is Mark's idea. Whenever he sees this, he's going to see it. And in Hebrew, you have a lot of these ets, don't you? All over the place, lots of ets. I done edit. You know, you used to hear that, you know. Ace holane, ace holane. Holane. What word in English do we get from that? Whole. W-H-O-L-E. Whole. The whole thing. That's what comes from there. Whole. We get a lot of words from Greek. We borrow them. English is a very poor language. It's a very, what we call a language in poverty. Because there are very little words in English that were actually the foundation of that. They borrowed words from all kinds of languages to make it up. I think all they did in England was ugh, ugh.
Well, that explains a lot with my husband.
We belong. We have a language that we speak that had to be borrowed from all these other languages. It's kind of a collective language. All of the English words that for science come from Greek, and all of the English words for law and what we call legal terms come from Latin. So what's in English? Ugh. Yeah. That's how they talk. That's why they talk so funny. They don't know what. They didn't have enough language enough to even learn how to talk. The entire Tain Galilean, and that word Tain Galilean, that ace up there tells that the action's going there. Galilean. What does Galilee mean? Do you know what that means, Carrie? How about it, Chris?
Circle.
Circle. It means circle. Now, how many cities were in that circle, Brother Mike? 10. All right. How many people were in those cities? Approximately how many people in each city? 15,000 people in each city, so 10 times 15. I'm a mathematician here. 150,000. Boy, you got it right. Teaching those college students, they've got a qualified teacher. The Galilee, the circle, and look at this, daimonia. What does daimonia mean, Chris?
Is it demons?
It means, I read our word demon from it. What's it mean, Sharon?
Oh, not of this world.
What? What's it mean there, Brother Mike? Little gods. See there, yes, little gods. It means a supernatural being. A demon means a supernatural being. It means a small, diminutive god. That's what it means. And demons are not, and these demons are not what we call the ministering spirits. These are the confusing spirits, okay? These are the bad guys. There are spirits, but the demons are fallen spirits, okay? And they're little gods. They're little supernatural beings. Why are they called supernatural or paranormal? Brother Mike, you got an idea. Why are they called supernatural or paranormal?
Things that we can't do that natural.
The natural world that we live in, they go beyond that, don't they? They're beyond. Beyond natural. Supernatural means beyond natural. That we cannot do what they do. Can we go from dimension to dimension? Can we go from dimension to dimension with spirit power?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can go from dimension to dimension. Do these people, do these people that are demon possessed, can they go between dimensions in their mind? Can they experience things that are far away and understand this stuff? I want to give you a little example of this. Now, some of the Indians got into pretty strong spiritual stuff, and some of it was not good spirit stuff. And some of them said that they traveled to the moon and looked at the moon and did all kinds of stuff. Is that possible?
For the demon inside.
And the demon inside them took their spirit with them, and they saw this. Now, I'm going to tell you an example in religion of this very thing. Huh? Well, now John, did he? Where did what did he, did the Lord take him? He was a time traveler, wasn't he? And he looked. John went from the isle at Patmos all the way into the end times that we saw, and he saw things that are going to happen here, right here. He saw things that would happen here. He saw things that would happen here. And so in the Spirit, he was a time traveler. Did he go between dimensions? The Apostle Paul, did he ever do this?
Yeah.
He did, didn't he?
Daniel.
Daniel did. Joseph. These people in the Old Testament, sometimes they did this. Now, with people in false religion ever do this? Let's look at one case. I'm going to tell you a little, and Brother Roger, you know what I'm talking about. You will in a minute when I stir up your memory. You know who Muhammad was? And his night journey. Now, he was in Mecca, and he said he traveled to Jerusalem in that night. Now, he stayed in that bed all the time. Everybody will swear up and down that he stayed in bed. Most of the, what we call the Islamic scholars will say that he actually did not travel, but he only traveled in spirit. And this is one of the things that he did. They said, how do you know that he traveled? And he started telling them the different caravans that were between there and Jerusalem. You remember that? And they found out that these people were actually there. Do you think that actually the demonic spirits transported him there and made him think that he was actually there? That's very possible, isn't it? Is it capable? Are they capable of doing that? Are they capable of it? Now this, if you read Ibn Ishaq's The Life of Muhammad, and he will tell you about this, won't he? And tell you all the different views of this. And they'll say, most Islamic scholars would say, well, he didn't travel in bodily form, because he said he traveled to Jerusalem, and then he traveled from Jerusalem to where? Through 7 heavens. Now that's an invention of false religion. How many heavens are there? 3 heavens. That's actually 3 heavens. We don't have 7 heavens, we have 3 heavens. How many earths did Muhammad have? 7 earths. And what form were they? They were all flat. What did the Catholic Church believe at that time? That the earth was flat. Where do you think he got that idea? What does the Bible say in the Old Testament about the earth?
It has a circumference.
That is round. It's not flat. And Muhammad said that the reason why there's mountains on the earth are like paperweights. So it hold down the ground so it wouldn't blow away. Mountains are paperweights that all are put on different places to hold the ground down so it wouldn't blow away like a sheet blowing. Like you go out, have you ever gone out on a picnic and put a picnic table down there and you have to have clamps or something to hold the table down, the tablecloth down? That's what he thought about he thought the ground was actually like a sheet laid out there. And that these mountains were holding the ground down. And underneath there were pillars that the earth stood on.
Do they still believe that now?
You know something? On ham radio the other day, I heard a guy get out there. Marilyn, you were there when that happened. I think you were out there when see, they know. I mean, I'm on the radio. I had a guy write a letter to me a couple of days ago, wanted to know if I was dead, asking Marilyn to tell him that I was dead or alive because they hadn't heard me on the radio, because they're out there listening to me teach and go on all the time like this. This guy got on radio the other day, and I know of him, and he says, all of these science and NASA and everything is lying to the American people. The earth is not round, it is flat. He kept going on about this, on and on and on. He's a Seventh-day Adventist type deal, okay? Those cults are something else. Anyway, he went on and on and on about this, and I said, fella, I said, I don't know where you're coming from. I'm not a Catholic, and we're not in the 3rd, 4th, 5th century. We know that the earth, those are all lies. Those are false things. I said, the Bible does not say the earth. I can tell you 70, 80 things in the Bible that the earth is flat. I said, you're not using good hermeneutics. The earth is round. And I said, I have seen the curvature of the earth. When I went up real high one time in an airplane, they were coming after us with bombers. When I was over in the Middle East, they flew real high. The pilot said we flew 75,000 feet. Whether we flew that high, I do not know. But I know one thing: the windows iced up, and you could look down there, and the Earth was no longer flat. It was like this.
Amen.
It was round. I said, I have seen the curvature of Earth. You go out beyond the horizon, what happens? The curvature of the Earth. You don't see that anymore. You're seeing beyond it because you've gone beyond the horizon. That's because the Earth is round. It's not flat.
Amen.
I don't care what Muhammad or the Seventh-day Adventists are conjuring up. And the demons, ekbalon. What word do we get from ekbalon there? We get actually two English words from that.
Exit?
Exit, and what else?
I do not know.
What's the other word, Sharon? What's the other word? Do you remember that one, Evangelina? What is it, Marilyn? Huh?
I can't remember it.
What is it, Brother Roger? Ball. Now, ekbalo, ball. What do you do with a ball? I got a baseball over there from the World Series. All those signatures. That's a ball. We got the word ball from balo. Because what do you do with balo means I throw. And here it says ekbalo. I throw out. And what did Jesus do to these demons? He threw them out of their home place. And we talked about last week, demons love to dwell in human or animal flesh, and what else?
Why?
I don't know, they just do.
In territory.
What benefit do they get out of being in the flesh?
Causing confusion.
Well, 'cause if they
What they
did-
do with Muhammad? What they do with Joseph Smith? What they do with Charles Taze Russell? What they do with Mary Ellen White? What they do? They cause confusion, religious confusion, every one of those. They cause confusion. Do demons actually go and conjure up these ideas with these people? Sure they do. They do that to cause all the religious confusion are out there. Have you ever tried to convert a Mormon? It's really rough. You know why? Because their idea of God is so far-fetched. I mean, boy, it's hard to convert somebody that doesn't know what God is. A Catholic, I've had a lot of conversions from the Catholicism because they do it. They at least believe in God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And nobody else is up there besides Mary. You got to get rid of Mary. You know. That's a problem. You get Mary out of the way, and they can believe in God. They have a kind of idea that they believe in God. But people that have changed the nature of God and the whole person of God, it's real hard to do that. And what causes this? This demonic influence. Now, it says that he cast out these demons. He cast them out. He was casting them out. Nominative, singular, masculine, present participle, active. It comes from ek and balo. The word exit up there, that word there is from the Greek word ek. And now we have one in verse 40. Kai, erkete, pros, auton, lepros, parakalon, auton, kai, genopeton, legon, auto, hoti, yan, theles, denase, me, katharise. And look at this volition in here, in the next word. Do we have volition? Or are we programmed like robots? No. Erkete. Conjugate that thing for me there, Cindy.
Third person singular.
You got that one right. Is that present?
Present.
And what's the I stand for? Indicative. What's M stand for? Middle voice. Present, indicative, middle. So did this guy come? He come of his own volition. He wasn't made to do it. He comes for himself. He brings himself toward him. Look at that word pros auton. Pros is a preposition, page 346 if you want to write that down. I got to do that too.
How can pros be 246, but the other one that started with an L is 242?
The what?
You had one before that started with an
Yeah. All right. Pros. 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 See there? Now I just took that out of my head, Cindy. What page is that on? 346. No, 346. See, you're checking me out. See if I'm really telling you this or lying. That's good.
You did good.
Was I right? I didn't have it written down either.
She was right too.
In my head. All right. And he comes for himself toward him. Pros. And now let's look at this also. John 1 and 1. I used to lose these things on the ground all the time until Sharon came up here and put these little Velcro things on. That's the neatest thing. Okay.
Abraham uses it a lot too.
Yeah.
He's always pulling a racetrack with it.
All right. Okay, there we are. Read it. Marilyn. Let's look at this now. I want you to decline and conjugate this for me, okay?
I'll take Kai.
You'll take Chi. What page is it on, brother? What page is Chi on?
It's a conjunction.
Oh, it's a conjunction? Here it's a conjunction, isn't it? All right. It's a conjunction here. All right. 208. It's on page 208. It's a conjunction. And the next one, it is a cumulative particle. The next part of this sentence, John 1 and 1. We're in the middle of John 1 and 1. We're in sentence 2 of John 1 and 1. Yeah. All right. Chi. Yeah, I am taking this out of context. But I want you to know. You want me to do it? It says, in arche ein hologos, Chi hologos, ein pros ton theon. Okay? And then what's the other one? Chi hologos, ein theos. Or it can be Chi theos, ein hologos. Either way. Predicate, nominative. Both things are the equal, and you can write it either way. It doesn't mean anything at all. But let's look at this here and see the Hebraism and the idea that's in here, because we've got it right here before us. He comes toward him. Pros auton. Now, toward him is you're going there, aren't you? You're going there. Now, let's look at this. Chi, that's a conjunction. Hologos, how should this be actually translated? The word, or hadavar, is what it is in Hebrew. Ha, the, bar in Hebrew. What does hadavar mean in Hebrew? It means the word, but what is it used as a substantive for? The name of God. Jehovah. They would write that instead of this right there. That's Jehovah right there. That's Jehovah. So instead of saying Jehovah, because they don't know how to say that, they say hadavar, hadavar. So here we have John bringing this Hebraism into Greek, and the Jehovah. What is this now? Who is he? That's nominative, singular, masculine, definite article, isn't it? Nominative, singular, masculine, noun. All right? There's Brett. Nominative, singular, masculine, definite article, nominative, singular, noun. Okay, so what is the subject? The nominative, this is the subject right here, isn't it? Okay, now, And then we have a linking verb or a verb, and this verb is in what tense? Because this is he, it's one guy, isn't it? It's singular, isn't it? So that's what designates this verb. So that is third person singular, imperfect, indicative, active. And it comes from Amy. Right there. That's it. Got it.
How do you go from first person to third person?
This is first person. That's third person.
I know.
That's he.
I know. That's first person.
Because this guy is a he, isn't it?
Okay.
It's he.
Okay. I get it.
He is. Now look at this. Now this is beautiful because it is grammatically correct, but it's theologically beautiful. Did Jesus ever cease being God?
No.
Never. Was he man?
Yeah.
Yes. But did he ever cease being God at any moment? No. And the Jehovah, he kept on being. Pros, ton, theon. He kept on being an inseparable part of the Godhead. You understand? Is this grammatically correct? Yes. It's see that? That's accusative singular masculine, accusative singular masculine. But in the last verse here, as you see this, Kai. Now this is not a conjunction. It's yes, even, absolutely, okay, like amen. And then we can do it either this way. Now look at that. In arche ein hologos. And it says in beginning kept on being hologos. And then it says kai hologos ein pros ton theon. And the Jehovah, he kept on being an inseparable part of the Godhead. Because, yes, even, absolutely, the Word, he kept on being the God. Not a God, the God. The God of heaven. The Word kept on being the God of heaven. Okay? Isn't that beautiful? Now, no one in any religious circle that these Muslims, they don't like this. They don't like it. Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't like it. Arthur Armstrong, he didn't like it.
Too bad.
Yeah. But what does John, what was the purpose of writing the Gospel of John? To prove that Jesus is Jehovah God.
Amen.
Absolutely to prove that Jesus is Jehovah God. Okay? So what does it say? That Jesus is Jehovah God. What does the book of Revelation say? 19th chapter. In Hebrew, it says what? Adonai ha-Adonayim. And what is that? That's one of the Jehovah titles. This is the Most High God. The Most High God, he kept on being. He is the what? Lord of Lords and King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That's what he is. He is. I was talking and preaching this morning. A parable of priorities. You'll hear that one sooner or later, young lady. A parable of priorities. And it says, and Haggai kept saying in there, it says, Jehovah Sabaoth. Jehovah Sabaoth. Why did he say that? Jehovah Sabaoth. The Lord of all the armies. The Lord over all the spirits. The Lord over all the armies of the whole universe. He says this. You do this. You do that. The Lord Almighty says this. The Lord Almighty, the Lord of all armies, says this. All right. Do you have any questions about this? You understand this grammatically better? Brett, it's good to see. Yeah. And he comes for himself toward a leper, a leperos. We get our word leper right out of this, don't we? A leper is a what kind of a term? It is a scientific and medical term, isn't it? So here we have it. This comes right out of this language. And then parakolon. And that one is pros para and kalo. He's calling beside him. He says, please, 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 entreating. And this in the Hebrew would be in what tense, Cindy? The PL tense. The PL stem. Beseeching, entreating, begging, imploring. It's nominative singular masculine, present participle active, him. Look at that, accusative singular masculine. There's your action going that way. And then kai and geno peton. Now this one here, this word is actually sandwiched in there. It was not in the original manuscripts. It's in the later manuscripts because they actually inserted in there, because in other places it actually said they were falling down. And so it just put it, this writer just decides, some copyist decides to put it in there so it'll understand it a lot better. There's nothing theologically wrong with this, but this wasn't really there. Remember, Mark is a very brief gospel, and he leaves many things out. He just tells you the facts, and then we go on. So they added to it a little bit here. Falling on their knees, kneeling, saying to him, that's dative singular masculine, third verse pronoun, saying to him that if, look at this now, eon there, that's a third class conditional, isn't it? Condition undetermined but with prospect of determination. And what does it depend on? Somebody's will. If you will, you are able. You are, this comes from dynamis. That's where we get our word dynamite. You are able me to cleanse. All right. Every time a leper came toward somebody, he'd say, unclean, unclean, unclean. I am diseased, unclean, don't come near me. They kept saying this, and they had to be separated from her. They talk about houses having leprosy in them. And actually, leprosy at this period of time, what was considered leprosy was staph infection, sometimes cancer, and many infectious diseases like this flesh-eating bacteria stuff. Is that contagious stuff? You better believe it. You better stay away from it. Okay, so this is why they separated them, so they'd have separated, because they didn't really know whether it was leprosy or skin-eating or flesh-eating bacteria or staph infection. So stay away from them. Just said, if you see this, do this. No. So every time a leper had to come toward anybody, he'd say, unclean, unclean, I'm unclean. Now this leper, when he sees Jesus, he said, I can be whole again. I don't have to say unclean if he wills. I will, but does he will that? Does he will that? Now let's look at one more verse. I'm going to turn you loose on the world. Kai, splax, nistes, ektenes, tain kera, auto, hypsato, kai lege, auto, thelo, katharistete. And having been full of affection. The word here in Hebrew would be love, to feel from your depths of your feeling. Love, affection, that's where love comes from. This one here is splach. Now this means your guts. When you are affected by somebody, when you see somebody, if you see somebody you love very much hurt, your guts just twist up, don't you? That's your bowels reacting to it. When you kill somebody, that happens. When you see somebody killed, that happens. That happens. We see this. We experience this terrible twisting of our guts. The butterflies. When people get ready to get up and speak or talk or whatever, every time I used to preach when I was young, I would get these butterflies. My stomach was going inside there, just having fits, like snakes crawling around. And I'd get up there and I'd just start preaching the Word, and then I was okay. Getting up there was real hard, but the Word of God just takes over. And having been full of affection, he stretched out. Having stretched out, or stretching out, having stretched out, ektenes, the hand of him, he latched on to him. He touched him and fastened himself to him. Third person singular, first aorist indicative, middle voice. Jesus did that for himself. He had this affection for him. And he says, legay. Let's conjugate legay here. Lego, legay, legomen, legeti, legusi, legain. Come on, say that with me. I'm trying to teach you present indicative active. Lego, legase, legay, legomen, legeti, legusi, legain. Okay. See there, you'll do it. Now let's do it without the front. O, ace, a, omen, eti, usi, ain. O, ace, a, omen, eti, usi, ain. Okay, see, you got it. I do really know those things. And he says, and he keeps on saying to him, that's dative, singular, masculine, third person pronoun, Thello. Look at all these present indicative actives he's using. Punctiliar, aorist, and present indicative actives, he's just using them over and over and over again. He said, I wish, I will. You be cleansed. Second person singular, first aorist, imperfect or imperfect passive. Either you be cleansed, punctiliar action, or you keep on being cleansed. Either of those tenses, that is applicable here. Just think about that. I wish. One of these days, the Lord is going to wish, and the world is going to change.
Amen.
One of these days, the Lord is going to wish, and He's going to rapture all the saved. One of these days, He's going to wish, and He's going to put torment on this earth because of what they've done to Him, what Israel did to Him, and what the world has done to Israel. And He's going to bring them back to God, and He's going to bring about God's eternal purpose in this period of time too. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. Do you have any questions? It's pretty neat stuff in the Bible, isn't it?
Amen.
When you see all the action of it. We'll start. We went from 135 to 41. Did you learn something tonight, Cindy?
Yeah, I learned about that thing on movable words.
Oh, the movable new?
Yeah.
All right. Marilyn had a birthday yesterday. She was a birthday girl. She's not going to tell you how old she is. I took her out to a restaurant the other day, and the guy looked at her, and he looked at her beautiful hair, and he said, you look like a young girl.
Well, I think we should sing happy birthday.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, God bless you.
Happy birthday to you.
Brother Brett, it's so good to have you come all the way from the wild state of the Pilgrims, Las Vegas. Come up here and dismiss us. Do you have any questions?
You let me up here?
Come up here. Dismiss us in prayer, brother.
Hey, you know what?
What?
Roger had a birthday too.
Roger had a birthday?
Roger.
What- happy birthday to you too, Roger.
Just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is it today?
Today is your birthday? Well, happy birthday, Roger. Happy birthday to you too.
One more time, Ron.
Yeah.